Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jackson, and I'm going to talk to you about my journey of how I started loving supplements and being healthy. So it started back in probably 2013, about 6 years ago, when I first when I first got introduced to my first job. And I was just out of high school, was planning to get into college and university, but at that time, my grades it wasn't good at all, and I had no passion for any of the careers. I remember thinking to myself, I wonder where life would take me in the next 5 years. I was unmotivated, depressed, uh, pretty much most of the time, just like any regular kid with no goals and no ambition and pretty much nowhere to go. At that time, I was applying to many jobs. All I remember is I love going to the gym, so I applied at all the local gyms, but I never received a call back. Out of a sudden, I landed on this job listing. It said Popeye supplements. I remember thinking to myself, like, what? I remember I did take protein in for after the gym, but I didn't know too much about supplements. So I asked my best friend at that time. He said, "Oh, if I like he told me that he shopped at Popeyes all the time, and if I got the job there, then that'd be pretty amazing." So I was like, whatever. So I applied, and then I waited. The funny thing is, a few days after, I actually received a call, and they asked me to come in for an interview. Although I remember on my resume it showed that I have previous jobs before, but this is literally my first. It was literally my first job. So I was a bit. I lied a little bit on my resume. I remember that the previous week, I had gone to a wedding, so my parents bought me this full on slick Hugo Boss suit, and I thought to myself, this might be overdressing for a supplement job, but I did it anyways. I put it on. I put it on. I gelled my hair. I felt confident. I knew I was going to not let this opportunity slip past me. So my interview was around 2 o'clock in a small town called or a small city called Richmond. It was about 45 minutes from where I lived. I remember it was around 1 o'clock when I started walking to the local SkyTrain station. And on the train, I brought along my fake resume, and on my phone, I remember the night before I was researching um, on Google how to all about interview questions. So I remember having all that stuff on my phone and just repeating it in my head and trying to foresee what I thought the interview or how the interview would go. So I was on the SkyTrain station. I was about one more stop until I had reached my destination. So I knew I had a little bit to walk. Um, and then the last stop hit. With a big, deep breath and a huge smile on my face, I knew I was ready. I walked out with my suit just like I had made $1 million. Like just how I felt like $1 million. I walked about like, you guys gotta know, during that time, it was my first interview, so I had a lot. It was very, very nervous. Very nervous, but I kept telling myself, I can do this. It's just an interview. There's nothing more, so it's normal. I walked about a mile to get to Popeyes. As I got closer, I saw the sign. My nerves were coming up again, but I kept repeating myself, "You got this. You got this." I walked up right to the entrance. Looking at the windows, it was all barred up. It was literally all barred up. That whole section, it felt like a jail cell. And then I pushed the door open. It was very bright. the store was so bright. I felt like my room right now, just very bright. And I remember looking around, and there was not a person in sight. All I remember seeing was hundreds of supplements. There was GH, pre-workouts, protein, creatine, just every kind of supplement you can think about. In the beginning, it was intimidating. I had no idea. And I thought to myself, what are all of these? Like, I'm going into an interview not knowing anything about supplements. A minute goes by, and this huge tall white dude, he comes on with his Popeyes uniform, and he says, "Hi, I'm David. I'm the store manager, and you're Jackson, right?" I'm like, "Yes," thinking to myself, "Fuck, there's no way I'm getting this job. This guy is literally 2 times bigger than me. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, and I'm a scrawny Asian guy, 5'5", 140 pounds. I'm like, how is this guy going to hire someone like me? There's literally no way." And he's like, "Hey, whatever. Hey, cool. Let's go to the coffee shop next door to us, and let's do this interview." I was like, sure, excitedly, trying my hardest to keep my cool down and enthusiasm, but my heart was literally pounding like 3 times the speed, man. We sat down, I handed him my resume, and he's like, "We're not gonna need that." I'm like, oh man, you know, he just started asking me questions which were nowhere related to those stupid Google interview questions I had. So I was like, whatever. Let's just be yourself, and he's a human, I'm a human, and we're just conversating. So we kicked it off pretty well. He asked me what I did regularly, how did I hear about Popeyes, how many times I worked out a week, just very basic questions. But one of the best things he did say to me is he was like, "Thanks for coming in with a suit and overdressing." The people who he had interviewed earlier or before, they all came in with shorts and t-shirt. They didn't really they didn't really dress to impress. They just didn't really care. He was like, "That's very admirable. And honestly, just remember, always dress to impress. First impression means everything." After the interview, we shook hands, and he said, "Thanks for coming, and we'll give you a call if we consider you or see how everything goes, and you're free to go." On the way home, I kept thinking, man, I really hope I get this job. I get home, laid down, patiently waited. And then the day after, in the morning, around 9-10 a.m. in the morning, I received a phone call from a random number. I'm like, hey, what the heck? Let's just pick up and see how see who it is. Surprisingly, it was David, and he's like, "Hey man, are you free to meet our regional manager today?" And I'm like, I screamed with the excitement inside. I was ecstatic. I was like, "Of course." I got ready, put on my boss suit, and then maybe it was a lucky suit, but who knows. I met up with the regional manager. His name was James at the time. I saw him, and he was just as big as David. Man, this guy was freaking huge, 250 pounds, 6'5", and he immediately said, "Thanks for meeting with me on such short notice, and hey man, nice freaking suit." He's like, "How would you like to join our team at Popeyes?" I was so freaking happy. Out of all the odds, a small Asian guy, literally half the size, with no experience. This was my first job in my entire life. I accepted the offer, and I was going to start on Monday, man. Filled with excitement, I asked, "How come me over all the other, applicants?" They said, "We don't care how small you are, what your experience is, but you came in with effort and personality. That's all that really matters." Also, they were planning to open a brand new store in downtown Vancouver, which was 5 minutes away from my house. So some may have called it luck, but yeah, I landed my first ever job with a big company based on my personality and dressing to impress. Who could have known? This started my journey on becoming who I am today. So I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my journey and how my journey with Popeyes. So I started my health journey with Popeyes. We started a brand new store in downtown Vancouver. A couple weeks after I got hired, they didn't have any employees at that time, or they didn't have too many employees at that time. So it was pretty much just me and some of the other managers from the other locations. My boss at that time, a store manager. So I was brand new. I didn't know much. But I learned off the manager who was there, who, I learned off everyone who's been there for years. And they taught me everything I know. They gave me a bunch of homework on the side. They were pounding my head day in and day out with product information. My knowledge was expanding. I was becoming more and more obsessed with Popeyes, about how supplements and health and how it affected the body, and physically, mentally, emotionally. Pretty much I knew everything, and we just went so in depth with learning. Our downtown store at that time had topped the charts of all the other stores. We pulled off what other stores did in about 6 to 10 months. We did in 2 months. My boss was ecstatic. He was excited, you know. But before all that, it was a sales job. So uh, all we really cared about was numbers. At the end of the day, it was pretty much just all numbers. We competed with all the other stores, and it, that was me before. Until this one day that really changed my passion into becoming healthy and helping other people. So it was a late night, around 9:30 p.m. I remember. Our store closed around 10, so I was doing our closing tasks. Yeah, I was tired and worn out from a long shift. Outside, it was dark and gloomy, so pretty much all I could see was uh, the street lights. My windows were barred up, so I literally just saw the street lights outside. It was very quiet. That day was very quiet. Then out of nowhere, a man, he walked by, peeked through the windows. I looked at him. We made eye contact, and I looked at him, and he just looked very worn out. He looked very old and worn out. He walked in about 10 seconds after with baggy jeans, baggy t-shirt, cut up t-shirt. His beard looked like he hasn't shaved in weeks. His hair was messed up, and he just looked very depressed. Uh, and then I approached him. I was like, "Hey man, how's it going? What brings you in today?" I did. He's like, "Nothing, man." Just looking all depressed, as if something just had happened to him. But at that time, I was like, oh, I didn't think too much about it. I proceeded just doing my typical sales pitch. And then at the end, I somehow managed to sell this guy two products, because I took these products every day, and it was a healthy drink for me. It was had a lot of vegetables and a very powerful antioxidant. And I truly believe that if it was a healthy drink for me, it's probably healthy for everyone else. And I live by that. So overall, we just had a good chat. He was just a little He was just another customer, but little did I know. So a week passed, and I just did my normal daily routines. 9:30 hit again. This this time I remember the same man that I saw last week walked in with his wife. This time he was happy. He was ecstatic. He was smiling, very energetic. Pretty much a complete opposite of who I met that guy or who I met uh, last week. He ran up to me. I was like, he literally did a 360, and or whatever you call it. Like he, it was night and day. It was literally night and day. He ran up with me full of stamina, and he said one thing that completely changed the way I think today. He said last week when I came in, I was depressed. I was on the verge of suiciding. I had no energy, no strength, and no motivation to come in or to move or just to do anything. You changed my life. I just wanted to come in here and thank you. And he gave me a hug. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy must this guy must be thinking of the wrong person. I was like, I didn't do anything for you. I was like, what are you talking about? He replied, hey man, the supplements that you sold me, it changed everything for me. It brought that light back into my life. Right then, it changed my belief, because what had been so natural for me is completely different in someone else's life. And I literally just did what my job told me to do. And I never thought that it can change someone's life so drastically. How it can literally turn someone's life upside down. At that moment, I knew in my heart that will try my hardest to get my knowledge and secret out to everyone I know. Something that was so simple and so natural for me literally saved a person's life. It went from depression, suicidal, to ecstatic and happy. And I know a lot of people, they deal with these kinds of emotions, so this is why I created this magic supplement that is a blend between those two amazing products that I sold that day. And I know it can change everyone's life upside down, and I mean turn everyone's life and turn it upside down, and give you that life that you deserve through pain and suffering, or depression, or anything. And it's gonna be this guy right here. It's New Health Pharma's Nano Curcumin. So let me tell you a little bit of story with this guy. So it's a supplement that I created. My product is Nano Curcumin. It's been used for thousands of years. Maybe even the gods used to use it. It's been around for so long. So it's an active ingredient in the spice turmeric, and it's been consumed for medical purposes. It's been backed by scientific experiments, and in 1949, researchers have shown that it has antibacterial activity, which has been linked to anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, chemotherapeutic, anti-parasitic, and many more, which means it has the ability to fight cancer cells. It will give you that health that you need to live through to whatever age that you want. And in animal studies, it shows that curcumin is the active ingredient in battling diabetes, obesity, neurologic and psychiatric disorders, cancer and chronic illnesses affecting eyes, lungs, liver, kidney, gastrointestinal, and cardiovascular systems. It's literally a magic potion. like there are curcumin available in the stores nowadays, but it's the curcumin that we use is in liquid form. So if it's in liquid form, it means that it has increased bioavailability. So the curcumin in the stores right now, they are in pill form, as well as gels or soft gels and things like that. But it cannot be absorbed by the body. So if it's in any other kind of form other than liquid, it reduces its bioavailability. So it cannot be absorbed in the body and the bloodstream. Liquid form, which we made this guy in liquid form. Also, we partnered with one of the biggest labs in the entire world, using advanced technology. So our technology is nanotechnology. What it does, it breaks down a single atom. Think about a single atom. You cannot even see a single atom. But what it does, it takes a single atom, which is and it breaks it down into a nanoparticle. When they do that, it is completely absorbed into the bloodstream, and you get full on benefits. You get it gets absorbed right away, and it's just amazing for the body. Just think about it. If you buy curcumin in pill form, and it only and if us or any supplement, and it only does 10% of what it claims, what does it tell you? You obviously don't need it, right? You're wasting money on useless supplements. So that's why it's always best to buy it in a liquid form. And honestly, I just want each and every one of us living the life that we deserve. Pain free, not needing to worry about aches and pains, and just having the best health possible. This is my magic supplement to you. I drink it every single morning, and it makes me who I am. It brings up my energy levels. It, no joint pain, protects my heart, and enhances my brain. It even does weight loss too, for whoever wants to, lose some weight. But it does it all naturally too, and that's the best part. It has no synthetic fillers inside. It's vegan. It's non-GMO. It's natural. It's backed by scientific experiments and everything. So, I really want to gift it to you guys and finally bring this amazing product to the market, so that we can together change everyone's life, like I changed that person's life, that man's life 6 years ago. And um, ever since that day, it just made me want to help everyone, and really show that we should all really care about our health and everything. So just wanted to thank everyone, and thanks for listening. Take care.